Imagine waking up one morning with a quiet but unsettling realization that the life you've been living may not truly be your own. That every decision you've made, every belief you hold, and even the dreams that fuel you may not have come from the deepest, most authentic part of who you are, but rather from the expectations of others, from the conditioning of your past, from the unseen forces of the world around you. Take a moment and ask yourself, how much of your identity is a reflection of your true self, and how much is a carefully crafted mask? A mask shaped by societal norms, by the roles you were given, by the fears that whisper in the back of your mind. How often do you feel like you're just playing a part, following a script written by your upbringing, your culture, or the silent pressure to be who the world expects you to be? Today, we begin an exploration, one that could change everything. Because Carl Jung, one of the most profound thinkers in psychology, once suggested something radical. Life doesn't truly begin until you find yourself. But what does that mean? Is it just about gaining self-awareness? Or is there something deeper, a transformative process that few ever dare to undertake? Stay with me, because as we uncover the hidden forces shaping your identity, you'll begin to see why so many people live their entire lives without ever truly knowing themselves. And more importantly, you'll learn how to break free. But before we talk about how to find yourself, we must first understand what's keeping you lost. From the moment we are born, we are given a name, an identity, a set of rules to follow. We are taught what is right and wrong, what is acceptable and what will be judged. We learn through praise and punishment how to fit into the world around us. And slowly, without even realizing it, we begin to suppress the parts of ourselves that don't align with what's expected. Think back to your childhood. Were there moments when you expressed yourself freely, only to be met with disapproval? Were you ever told to be realistic, to toughen up, to stop dreaming so big? Over time, we learn to hide those parts of ourselves, to bury them deep where no one can see. And this is where Jung's idea of the persona comes in. The persona is the face we show the world. It helps us fit in, navigate relationships, and gain approval. But here's the problem. The more we identify with this mask, the more we lose touch with who we really are. We start believing that we are the mask. And we forget that something much deeper lies beneath it. But the persona has a dark twin. Meet your shadow. If the persona is what we show the world, the shadow is everything we hide from it. It holds our suppressed emotions, our fears, our hidden desires, and even our greatest untapped strengths. And here's where things get even more interesting. Your shadow doesn't just disappear because you ignore it. It operates beneath the surface, influencing your thoughts, your reactions, and the choices you make, often without you realizing it. Have you ever disliked someone intensely but couldn't quite explain why? Have you ever been triggered by certain behaviors in others that made you feel unexpectedly emotional? Jung believed that what disturbs us in others is often a reflection of something hidden within ourselves. Something we have denied. Something we have buried so deeply that it can only reveal itself in the people or situations we resist the most. But here's the key: your shadow is not your enemy. In fact, the parts of yourself that you've been suppressing might just be the missing pieces of your wholeness. Jung's great insight was this: psychological growth isn't about eliminating the shadow, it's about integrating it. It's about shining a light on the parts of yourself you've ignored and learning to embrace them. Because when you do, you unlock a source of power, authenticity, and freedom that most people never experience. Are you ready to meet yourself? Because this journey isn't for the faint of heart. Most people avoid it. Why? Because facing yourself is uncomfortable. It requires looking at the aspects of your personality you'd rather ignore. It demands that you question your beliefs, confront your fears, and challenge everything you thought was true about yourself. Think about how often we avoid silence. How often we distract ourselves with work, social media, entertainment, anything to avoid sitting alone with our thoughts. Why do we do this? Because deep down, there are questions we don't want to face. But no matter how much we try to suppress them, these hidden parts of ourselves don't just disappear. They show up as anxiety, as self-sabotage, as a lingering sense of dissatisfaction. But what if I told you that within your deepest wounds lies your greatest potential? Jung believed that true transformation comes not from avoiding our inner conflicts, but by confronting them directly. By making peace with our past, by integrating our fears, and by stepping into the fullness of who we are. Because true freedom is not found in pretending to be perfect, it's found in embracing all that you are. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. What if the struggles you face, the patterns you repeat, and even the fears you hold aren't just random? What if they are part of something bigger? The hidden archetypes within you. Jung believed that within every human being, there exists something called archetypes. Universal patterns, deep psychological blueprints that influence the way we think, feel, and behave. Have you ever felt drawn to the idea of a hero's journey? The struggle between good and evil? The wise mentor? The shadowy villain? These are not just stories. They are symbols of something deeper, forces within you. The hero is the part of you that seeks purpose, that longs to overcome obstacles, to grow, to become something greater. But the hero is always accompanied by the shadow, the doubts, the fears, the hidden wounds that must be confronted before true transformation can occur. So, let me ask you, what archetype is running your life right now? Are you the seeker, searching for meaning but unsure where to begin? Are you the outcast, feeling disconnected, waiting for a moment to belong? Are you the warrior ready to fight for your truth but held back by fear? Because the truth is, we are all living a myth. The question is, are you choosing yours? Or are you unconsciously playing out a role that was written for you? The journey begins now. Most people will go through life as strangers to themselves. They will follow the paths laid out for them. They will seek approval, fit into expectations, and never question if the life they are living is truly their own. But you don't have to be one of those people. You have the power to break free. To shed the layers of conditioning that have kept you small. To step fully into who you were always meant to be, unafraid and unapologetic. And in the next part, we're going even deeper. Because what you're about to learn next may just change the way you see yourself forever. Are you ready? The call to transformation. If you're still here, it means something inside you is awakening. It means you're ready to question, to explore, to embark on a journey few ever dare to take. But before we continue, I need to ask you, are you willing to let go of who you think you are, to become who you were meant to be? Because this is not a journey of comfort. It's a journey of destruction and creation. Of tearing down false identities and reconstructing yourself from the inside out. And it starts with one thing. Radical self-honesty. Most people live in carefully curated illusions. They tell themselves stories to avoid discomfort. They justify, rationalize, and defend their limitations because it's easier than confronting them. But transformation begins the moment you stop lying to yourself. So, let's strip everything back. Ask yourself, what parts of my life feel out of alignment? Where am I living for others instead of for myself? What fears have kept me stuck in the same patterns? What truths am I avoiding because they scare me? These are the questions that break the illusion. These are the questions that set you free. Because true freedom isn't found in escaping reality, it's found in facing it head-on. And once you do, once you confront the uncomfortable truths about yourself, something incredible happens. The death of the old self. There comes a point in every great transformation where the old self must die. Not physically, but psychologically. The identity that was built to seek approval. The fears that kept you small. The beliefs that no longer serve you. This moment, this death of the old self, is terrifying. Because for the first time, you stand at the edge of the unknown. No longer held back by the past, but not yet reborn into your full power. Jung called this individuation. The process of integrating all parts of yourself. Of shedding the mask. Of stepping into your wholeness. And when this happens, something powerful emerges. The birth of the true self. This is the moment you stop living a second-hand life. You no longer define yourself by external labels. You no longer seek validation from the world. Instead, you move with purpose. You think, feel, and act from a place of deep authenticity. You embrace both your light and your darkness, not as enemies, but as allies. And when you do this, when you embody your truth, the world responds in kind. Because people are not drawn to perfection. They are drawn to realness. To those who have dared to face themselves. To those who walk their own path, unshaken by fear or expectation. This is the mark of true power, not control over others, but mastery over yourself. Your next step, the hero's choice. Now you stand at a crossroads. You can choose to return to what is familiar. To let this moment fade, to stay within the comfort of what you know. Or, you can step forward. Into the unknown. Into the discomfort. Into the transformation that will change everything. Because the truth is, you already know who you are. You've always known. You've just been waiting for permission to remember. But here's the thing. No one is going to give you that permission. You have to take it. So what will you choose? Will you remain a spectator in your own life? Or will you step into the fire and become something more? The choice is yours. And for those who choose to go further, the real journey is just beginning. Are you ready? If you've made it this far, it means you've chosen the road less traveled, the one that leads not to comfort, but to truth. This is the point of no return. Once you see reality for what it is, you can never unsee it. Once you taste freedom, you can never be satisfied with illusion. But here's the secret, most people turn back here. Why? Because transformation is not a straight path. It's not a staircase where each step is predictable. No, it's a spiral. A cycle of death and rebirth. Of breakthroughs and setbacks. Of light and shadow dancing together in an endless rhythm. And at some point, you will face the most difficult part of all. The dark night of the soul. Every great transformation has its reckoning. A moment when everything you thought you knew shatters. The old ways of thinking no longer work. The old dreams no longer inspire. The old self clings desperately to survival, but deep down, you know, it's time to let go. This is the phase where most give up. Where they convince themselves that change is impossible. Where they retreat into distractions, addictions, or denial. But if you push through, if you hold steady through the storm, something incredible happens. The alchemy of transformation. Just like fire purifies gold, struggle refines the soul. Your pain becomes your teacher. Your failures become your wisdom. Your wounds become your strength. Because true transformation isn't about becoming someone new. It's about removing everything that isn't you. Like a sculptor carving away at stone. You strip away the fear. You strip away the false beliefs. You strip away everything that was never truly yours. Until all that remains is the raw, untamed truth, your most authentic self. And once you reach this place, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier. Not because challenges disappear. But because you no longer fear them. You stop seeking validation because you validate yourself. You stop resisting change because you trust the process. You stop chasing happiness because you realize you are the source of it. At this point, something profound shifts. The world no longer controls you. You control how you respond to the world. And that, my friend, is the ultimate freedom. Your mission from here. Now that you see the truth, the real question is, what will you do with it? Will you keep this transformation to yourself? Or will you share it, becoming a light for others still trapped in the dark? Because the world is filled with people sleepwalking through life. People waiting for a sign, a voice, a guide to remind them that they, too, can awaken. Maybe you are that guide. Maybe your journey isn't just for you. Maybe your struggles were meant to prepare you to help others rise. So as you step forward, remember this. The path of transformation never truly ends. There is always more to unlearn, more to discover, more to become. But from this moment forward, you walk it not as a seeker, but as someone who knows. Welcome to the other side. Now go. Create. Inspire. Transform. If this message resonated with you, don't just keep it to yourself, let it flow. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below and tell me, what part of this spoke to you the most? And if you're ready for more content like this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Remember, your journey is just beginning, and you are not alone. Until next time, keep rising, keep expanding, and keep being the light. I'll see you in the next video.